This is something where I almost hate to tell the truth where I got this drive shaft, but this came from eBay. I talked about it the other day in my video. It went on a vacation that I couldn't even have afforded. Like I said, from I guess California to New Mexico, and then on to Texas, and then on to Louisiana, then North Dakota, South Dakota, Tennessee, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and it took 2 weeks to get here. Wanted to point something out about this cheap Chinese steel and these drive shafts, because you younger guys are coming into getting these hand-me-down trucks from dad, or they're on a street corner somewhere for sale for a couple of bucks. These drive shafts seize up on the 90 series. A lot of them do. Even the newer trucks are even worse because they're made out of this cheap stuff. You see, this is pre-rusted. So we're going to use the silver grade anti-seize on these cheaper steels. And then I have different colored grease guns, and I deliberately bought them that way because grease is not grease. Okay, you want to put that red wheel grease or something in there, or the green grease. Okay, the regular, how could you say, petroleum grease. I use silicone grease because these tend to seize up here. Okay, so JDM Speed is where this came from on eBay, Fleabay as I call it, and it's made probably out of cheap stuff. I do see that. I think it's new construction. I don't. This does not look like an original, especially the balancing weight area and this taper and weld right there. So when you guys inherit these trucks, okay, you might have the point where you got to service the transmission, or you want to put dual exhaust on it, and you want to work on your truck, and well, that drive shaft just won't come out. Well, that's because it's seized. And at that narrow collar there, right at the narrowest point of that drive shaft, is where you cut it with an angle grinder. And just take your time. Don't put your face in your chest. Put something on your chest in case that damn thing rebounds back. Not that you rip yourself open, and wear pity covers. That's the way I got the drive shaft out of her. I knew better. I already knew the drive shaft was seized up. I went under there, I took one look at it, and I knew it wasn't coming out of there without being cut. Now, some guys with a bigger shop, they might even use a smoke wrench. It's not necessary, but when you're using those angle grinders, and especially those low grade ones that don't have the correct RPM, or you have something that's kind of an animal with an you really have to just buy a regular domestic grinder. Don't use nothing domestic or something you got at a yard sale, because 9 chances out of 10 it might bite you. But those drive shafts for you younger guys coming into these 90s trucks, and they are a nice truck. Don't get me wrong, you redo those trucks, you're going to have them forever. Take care of the frame. I don't know if this is your first video, this is the truck here that was a gift. This was stuck up on the second floor of an old car dealership slash bowling alley company. And, well, she's about like my Ford over there. It's going to take every new part that's on the list, and the only thing really remaining original is the steering wheel and the seats and all that. And I just got done rebuilding the four-wheel drive under there. I got a harness finally. As I said, this was owned by a young guy, and the young guy, he has a job. He just doesn't have time for it, and I inherited it. I really appreciate it. But the moral of the story is, when you're a young guy and you don't have a whole lot of money and a whole lot of knowledge, and YouTube can lie at times. When they take stuff apart in those YouTube videos, like stuff like these drive shafts, they come right out of the truck. I mean, here in the Northeast in the Rust Belt, it's kind of a bad joke. And I had a friend. He's in his 20s. Well, he was in his. He could still be in his 20s. It's a couple years ago. He started watching me on YouTube, and he said I represented the moral. How could you say the moral majority of the way things come apart here in the Northeast? Because it ain't like you're taking a truck apart down south. They put this battery acid on the roads, which nobody agrees with, especially if you're going to pay $70,000 for a new truck, and it's going to be potato chips in 3 or 4 years because of what they put on the roads. Got to be a better way other than putting a sodium calcium cyanide on the fucking roads and then telling everybody it's their imagination why they're getting cancer, it's this, it's that. 9 chances out of 10, it is your groundwater, because that stuff runs into it and it eats, especially the softwood trees, the fir trees. That stuff they put on the roads rots the goddamn roots right out. And then they go along the roads and plant those invasive species of plants to hold the soil, because they killed everything natural that grows there. Sometimes the bullshit stories just got to stop. But That's how you address those drive shafts, young guys, okay? Young bucks. Cut it out of there and put the new one in. You got to bite the bullet. They're about $150 on eBay, Fleabay, Scamazon. I don't even think Amazon had a listing for them. Amazon handles small stuff like brakes and brake parts, and they're good for a lot of stuff like that, and especially those door fasteners and stuff. Watch out for those real cheap kits. Just send them back and tell them, tell the Chinamen they got to improve their quality a little bit. I just got one of those door kits, and the plastic is so brittle, it's not going to do the job. Thanks for watching my videos.